Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Run Away With Me by Daniel Hurst. Narrated by Francesca Waite and Luke R. Francis.
Prologue. It amazes me what people think they can get away with these days. It was a simple statement from one police officer to another as they remained crouched down amongst the trees, out of view from the property before them. Everything seemed to be going to plan inside the small cottage right now, but they knew the suspect was in there and things could go wrong at any second. This was a dangerous criminal they were dealing with, and while they hoped to take them alive, they knew there might be a more gruesome ending to this investigation. It had taken the police a while to find this hideaway in the Cumbrian countryside, but now that they had, they weren't going to take their eyes off the property until they had the suspect in handcuffs. The police officers remained in position as they waited for the suspect to emerge, despite the darkening clouds overhead that threatened to dump rain onto this exposed hillside. But it would take a lot more than bad weather to make them give up. After all, they had an adage to prove correct. It was an adage that was as old as time. You can run, but you can't hide.
1. Laura. I feel the kicking in my stomach and place my left hand on my swollen skin again. It's not painful, but it's not comfortable either. I love the feeling of life growing inside me, and know I should cherish moments like this because they will be over soon. But still, nobody likes being kicked if they can help it. But it's not for long. My baby is due any day now, and I can't wait to meet my little boy. However, I'm also aware that kicking will be the least of my problems when he does finally enter this world. Then I'll have to deal with dirty nappies, breastfeeding, and even less sleep than I'm getting right now. The joys of motherhood. Those who have already gone through the experience tell me that it is worth it in the end, and I believe them. I can't wait to be a mum and hold Samuel in my arms. That's going to be his name. Samuel Peter Stevenson. Samuel, because both me and my husband Adam miraculously agreed on a name in the end, and Peter, because that was my late father's name. And I want to honour him somehow, even though he won't be here to meet his grandson when the big day eventually comes. I wish my dad was still here to experience this exciting time with me. But he was taken by cancer at 67. Mum passed away a couple of years before that, but I hadn't seen too much of her in the last few years, ever since she walked out on Dad for another man. But I'm still lucky enough to have a great extended family, and I have been leaning on Adam's sister, Kat, for support during my pregnancy. She has been amazing throughout these last 9 months, as I've swelled up and become irritable, offering me advice as a mother to 2 of her own, and I know she is going to be just as helpful when Samuel is born. Not least of which when it comes to babysitting, so Adam and I can have the occasional date. But right now, the prospect of a date with my husband seems a long way away. I use the remote control to check the time on the television and see that it has ticked past 9 in the evening. Adam assured me he would be back by now, but I'm still waiting for him. Not that I'm mad. He is at a leaving party for one of the guys in his office, so I don't mind that he has been out having fun tonight, while I've been stuck on the sofa with my massive bump and old episodes of Friends. Besides, he should enjoy himself while he can. There won't be much time for partying when Samuel is born, that's for sure. I place the remote control back down on the sofa beside me and let out a deep sigh as my unborn child continues to pummel me from within. The concept of partying seems a lifetime ago now as I lie here and count down the days until I become a mother for the first time, but I can't complain. I had a good run. More than a good run, in fact. I didn't settle down and get married until I was 35, and Samuel will be coming along just 1 month after my 38th birthday. I'm not exactly a spring chicken when it comes to parenthood, but this is exactly how I planned it. I always wanted to be an older mum. I knew that having a baby would be a wonderful thing, but that it would change my life forever. So I ensured that I did all the things that I wanted to do before I even thought about trying to conceive. I went to university. I travelled the world. I spent my weekends in various nightclubs and bars, singing loudly to cheesy music. I had several boyfriends and got all the good, bad, strange and downright dirty sex out of my system. And I even found the time to climb the career ladder at work, making it all the way up to the position of Health and Safety Compliance Manager at the Housing Association where I have worked ever since I turned 30, and added a semblance of adult responsibility to my life. I've ticked off everything I've ever wanted to do, including getting married to a wonderful man, and now it's time for the last thing on my list. It's time to be a mum. I've enjoyed the start to my maternity leave, and even though I know it will be a lot different when Samuel is here to spend it with me, I am already debating whether or not I want to go back to work when my leave is up. I have a feeling I won't want to leave my smiling baby boy once he arrives, so perhaps being a stay-at-home mum is the next step in my evolution. It's a far cry from the woman I used to be in my 20s when I spent more time on the town than I did in a house, but now I'm hurtling towards 40 and things have changed. I'm content to stay in and watch television instead of going out drinking and dancing now. I'm happy enough to spend my money on baby clothes and toys instead of shoes and handbags for myself. And I'm certainly settled enough with the love of my husband who worships me and will do anything for me and the family we are creating. I met Adam on one of my typical boozy weekends 4 years ago, and for the first time in my life, I actually felt like I had found a guy I wanted to see more than just for sex and the occasional date. It was a big step for me to forego my fun-filled life as a singleton and commit myself to one man, but that's what I did when we began dating seriously. The wedding that followed 2 years later was the ultimate act to prove to myself, my family and my friends that I had actually grown up and become a more civilised member of society, instead of the drunken and debauched spinster they expected me to be forever. Now here I am sitting in my jogging pants and sipping a glass of water while I wait for my husband to come home and tell me about his fun night. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol in 9 months, and I haven't worn anything sexy for close to 12. It's official. I really am an adult now. Not that Adam is out there having all the fun that I can't. He is driving tonight, which means he'll have only had 2 drinks at most during the party. I'm quite pleased about that because it means he won't come home tipsy and smelling of booze and remind me of all the fun I could have been having if I hadn't gone and got myself with child. But Adam isn't the type of guy who would go out and get drunk while his partner is pregnant anyway, even if he wasn't driving tonight. That's because he knows how tough these last 9 months have been for me and what my body is having to go through, and he has always done whatever he can to be supportive. That means he never drinks a glass of beer or wine in front of me when he knows that I can't. It means he doesn't talk about how much weight he is losing at the gym when he knows that I am piling on the pounds. And he never goes into too much detail about the social events he is attending because he doesn't want to make me jealous. Instead, just saying he will be home a little later than usual on occasion and leaving it at that. He really is great, and I can't wait to see him with Samuel. I know he will be an amazing father. But I am a little surprised that he isn't home yet. He had promised me he would be back by 9 at the latest, and it's now 15:15. Perhaps he got chatting to a colleague and couldn't get away. Maybe there's a problem on the roads and he's been forced to take a different route home. Or what if he's been in an accident and is lying lifeless by the roadside somewhere, leaving me behind as a widow with a child to raise by myself? I pushed the last thought from my mind quickly because it is a ridiculous one. Adam isn't dead. He will be home any minute now, and he will be here to help me bring this baby into the world. Of course he will, and thank God too, because the thought of doing it on my own is terrifying. I need his support during the birth, and I'll certainly need it through all the long days and nights when Samuel needs feeding, changing and soothing. The scary thoughts of losing Adam never really came to me until I got pregnant. But now, they seem to come all the time. That's because I know I would be lost without him. But let's hope it never comes to that. There's no reason to think it would. It's 2 minutes later when I hear the car pulling onto our driveway, and I smile because my worst fears haven't been realised today. My husband is home, everything is going to be all right. But then the front door opens, and I hear Adam calling out to me in a desperate tone, and I realise how foolish I was for thinking everything was going to be okay. Everything is not okay. In fact, everything is now ruined. 2. Laura. Slow down, you're not making any sense. My words are meant to calm my husband down enough so that I can get a clearer understanding of what he is saying, but they don't seem to have worked. He's still just as breathless and agitated as he was when he first came through the door 10 seconds ago. He came out of nowhere. I didn't even see him, Adam cries, and that's the first time I've been able to make some sense out of the jumble of words that have poured out of his mouth ever since he got home. Who did? The guy. What guy? What are you talking about? I know I'm bombarding him with questions, but I don't know what else to do. I've never seen my husband like this before, and I'm worried. He's usually so calm, and he's usually the one who has to deal with my drama. Seeing Adam so worked up is almost as frightening to me as that thought I had about him not making it home at all. The guy I hate, Adam cries, and I can see the fear in his eyes as he looks at me. That does not sound good. You hit someone? At the party? No, not at the party, Adam replies with a snarl as if it's my fault for not understanding his predicament right now. With my car. Now it's my turn to start panicking. You hit someone with your car? I didn't see them. Honestly, I didn't. Adam, what happened? I demand to know, and it must have been my stern use of his name that snaps him out of it, because he suddenly stops pacing around and looks me in the eye. I was driving down Moor Lane, and I swear I only took my eyes off the road for a second, he says with his voice trembling. When I looked up again, he was right in front of me. I couldn't get out of the way in time. He went straight over the bonnet. What the hell was he doing out on the lane at this time of night? Where is he now? I ask, trying to think practically even though I can already feel my carefully planned life starting to fall apart around me. He's still on the road, Adam replies, and for a second he looks like he's going to be sick, but our new carpet is the least of my worries. Is he okay? Did you call an ambulance? I ask, terrified of the answer because I know that involving the emergency services will make it even more real. But what else is supposed to happen next? No, Adam says meekly with a shake of the head. What do you mean? You can't just leave him there. You have to see if he's okay. He might have seen you. He might have called the police. He hasn't done any of that. How do you know? Adam takes a few seconds to answer me, but when he does, I wish he hadn't. Because he's dead. 3. Laura. It's been 10 minutes since Adam came home and told me he had been involved in a hit and run just a couple of miles from our house. It's been 5 minutes since I stopped screaming at him and begging him to go back to the scene, and it's been 2 minutes since he persuaded me not to call the police. I'll go to prison, he had said as I stood shaking in the hallway with my phone in my hand and my finger ready to dial the third number 9 in a row. They won't care if it was an accident. The guy is dead. They won't just give me a slap on the wrist and let me go. While I was afraid my husband was right, I'd tried to tell him that the police would understand if he just told them the truth. The guy had been standing in the road. There was no way you could have avoided him. As long as you weren't speeding or driving under the influence, then they'll see that it was an accident. But you can't just leave him there. That's a crime. I should have known by my husband's silence that there was more to it. But it was only when I went to press the last digit that would connect me to the emergency services when he told me the rest. I had 3 beers at the party, he had confessed. I'm over the limit. They'll lock me up, Laura. I'll get 5 years at least, maybe 10. The phone had fallen from my hand at that point, but that wasn't the reason why I hadn't called anybody yet. The reason was because Adam was right. If the police did come to the scene of the accident and speak to my husband, they would breathalyse him, and they would find out he had been over the limit when he had hit that poor man. Then they would slap handcuffs on him and take him away, and I'd be left on my own, not just for tonight, but for several years. Except I wouldn't be on my own. I'd have a baby to bring up. I just wouldn't have Adam around to help me do it. We're sitting on the sofa together now, but we're far from close. Adam is leaning forward in his seat with his head in his hands, whilst I'm trying not to have a panic attack in case I go into labour and make this night even more of a disaster than it already is. But we can't stay like this for long. We have to decide what we are going to do. Is your car damaged? I ask, feeling ashamed to even be going down this particular route rather than talking to the police, which would be the right thing to do. Adam shakes his head. That's good, I say, which is laughable because there is nothing good about this situation. But perhaps there is a way out of this. If nobody saw him and there's no evidence of damage on the car, then maybe nobody has to know that it was my husband who killed that man by accident tonight. But then Adam speaks again, and I realise that there isn't a way out of this at all. There are cameras on that lane, he says, looking up at me with tear-stained eyes. Somebody will find the body, and when they do, the police will check the CCTV. They'll see my car drive past, and they'll get the registration number. Then they'll come here and ask me where I was. I can't face that, Laura. I can't do it. Adam buries his face in his hands again, and I'm almost mad at him for being so useless at a time when I need him more than ever. But most of all, I'm mad because he is right. There are cameras on that lane. The police will be able to see exactly who drove along it and at what time. Based on the time of day the accident occurred and how remote the lane is, I doubt there has been much traffic along there since then to add to the list of suspects. We have to call the police. Things will be so much worse for you if you don't, I say, just as I feel another kick in my belly, and Samuel's enthusiastic squirming is a reminder of how much is at stake for us right now. It's not just mine and Adam's life that could be ruined tonight. It's an innocent baby boy's too. I don't want to have to raise a child on my own, but most of all, I don't want my child to spend the first few years of his life making visits to a prison just to see his father. But what else can we do? Let's pack some things and just leave, Adam suggests, suddenly grabbing my hands. We need to go tonight, before the police can find me. We'll run away, we can go anywhere. We'll be together. We'll have Samuel. This doesn't have to be the end for our family. It could be the beginning. I stare at my panic-stricken husband as if he's a crazy prisoner speaking his last thoughts while awaiting his fate on death row. He's gone mad. He has to know that running isn't an option. So why is he still looking at me like he's serious? We can't just run away, I cry, pulling my hands away from his even though I'm desperate for the comfort of his touch right now. Can't we? Adam replies, and I'm struck by the sudden switch in his demeanour. He no longer looks timid and terrified. He looks like he has a plan. What about our family, our home, our jobs, and what about the police? They'll find us and then what? Things will be even worse, and not just for you. I'll go to prison too, and what will happen to Samuel if we're both locked up? What will happen to him if we don't go? Adam asks, turning the questions back onto me.
He won't know his father until he's starting secondary school. And will you be able to bring him up by yourself? You won't have the money from my wage for a start.
We won't have any money if we run. Yes, things will be bad if we stay, but they will be so much worse if we go.
Are you sure about that?
Adam asks me, and the fact that I don't have an immediate answer tells me that I'm not sure at all. Yes, running away would be bad, but would it actually be worse than staying and going through the hell of trying to raise a newborn child while my husband goes through a doomed trial and begins a lengthy prison sentence? I don't know, but I can't believe it's a dilemma I'm even having to contemplate. 10 minutes ago, the only thing I had to worry about was getting a couple of hours of sleep in before Samuel kicking me. Now, I'm trying to figure out if I want to watch my husband get put into the back of a police car or pack a bag and run away with him. I put my hand on my stomach again, and I can feel Samuel in there wriggling away. Meanwhile, his parents are in the outside world, trying to wriggle out of this. 4. Laura.
If we're going to go, then we have to go now.
Adam says to me as if I needed the reminder of how fast the clock is ticking. I don't need that reminder because I've already spent the last few minutes running through every scenario in my head. It's been half an hour since Adam came home. The lane is quiet at this time of night, but another motorist must have been down there by now and spotted the dead body. Presumably they weren't quite so eager to flee the scene, meaning an ambulance would have now been called to tend to the victim. Based on our remote location, that would have taken around 15 minutes to arrive, so it might be there already. It might still be on the way. But one thing is for sure. There won't be anything they can do for the poor guy lying on the concrete road when they do try and help him. Then it will be a matter for the police. I don't know how long it will take them to check the camera footage on that lane, but when they do, it won't be long until they spot Adam's car and make a visit to the address it is registered to. It won't be tonight, but it will probably be tomorrow. That means that in 24 hours, I could be all by myself in this house, and I will be left that way for many years to come. Or worse, we'll have to sell the house because we can't afford it with Adam behind bars, and I will have to move into a cramped council flat where I will try and raise Samuel to the best of my inexperienced ability, while making several trips back and forth to the local prison to visit my husband while he serves his time. It's the kind of life you see a character living in a television drama. It's the kind of life I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. But it's the kind of life that could now be my own. Unless I do what Adam is suggesting. Unless I run away with him. What if you say your car was stolen? I speculate after the thought of running hasn't got any easier to comprehend.
It won't work,
Adam replies quickly, as if he has already thought about that option himself. Maybe he has. My husband is now a man trying to figure out which crimes he can get away with and which ones he can't. I meant every one of my vows on our wedding day, but I don't remember the part about having to figure out the best way to lie to the police together. Why won't it work? You can report it stolen. Say you looked outside just before you went to bed and it was gone. That would mean somebody else was behind the wheel on the lane tonight, not you.
They'd never buy it. Plus the times wouldn't match. Everyone at the party tonight knows I was driving home, and they know what time I left.
Maybe it was stolen just after you got back, I say, making suggestions even though I feel like my brain has checked out and I'm being operated by somebody else now.
The neighbours might have seen me come back, Adam replies. Maybe the body was found not long after I left. If so, the times won't match. The emergency call might have gone out to the police before I even made it back here.
Then why did you come back home? You should have left the car somewhere. Adam seems surprised by my outburst, and he's not the only one. I can't believe I'm making out like there was an easy way out of this. Of course there isn't. He's screwed, and now so is our family.
I didn't think. I was in shock, I guess. I still am.
Adam slumps back down onto the sofa with that glazed look in his eyes that I've never seen before tonight, but now it's becoming his permanent appearance. For the first time since he walked through the door, I don't just feel sorry for myself, my unborn child, and the poor guy lying dead in the lane. I feel sorry for my husband too. He's just killed a man by accident. How do you get your head around that? Come here, I say to him as I take a seat beside him and put my arms around him. I can still feel the cold on him from when he was outside. It must be freezing out there. I wouldn't know because I've been sat in a warm house all evening. I've been sat here while my husband has been out there making a terrible mistake. It's just as Adam is burying his head into my shoulder and starting to sob again when I realise that I am partly to blame for this mess. It was me who persuaded Adam that he should go to the leaving party tonight. He wasn't that fussed about it and said he could take it or leave it. He wasn't even that close to the departing colleague it was an aid of anyway, apparently. But I told him he should go. Mainly because it would be one of the last nights where he would get to enjoy himself before Samuel came along and put a stop to frivolous drinking for a while. But if only I had told him to skip the party and stay in with me, we could have spent the evening curled up on the sofa together, talking to my bump and feeling every kick it made together. Then we would have gone upstairs to bed and fallen asleep with a smile on our faces because we have so much to look forward to. A healthy son. 40 more years of life. Our freedom. Now that's ruined. We still have our son, and we still might get the 40 years, but they won't be the same. Adam won't be free, and without him, I won't feel free either. I'm sorry, Adam says, lifting his head from my tear-stained shoulder and looking at me like a wounded puppy. I should have stayed at the scene. I should have done the right thing. I'm just so scared of losing you and Samuel. He puts his hand on my stomach and I feel like I could cry. I silently urge Samuel to give another kick right now so Adam can feel it. Maybe it will make him feel better. But Samuel doesn't comply. He only kicks when he wants to, and he never seems to do it when Adam is waiting for it. He just does it for me. I guess that's how it will always be when he's born too. He'll just do things for me. He will barely even know his dad until his prison sentence is served. I suddenly feel nauseous and put my hand to my mouth as I get up and rush to the kitchen. I've spent enough time being sick over the last 9 months to know when I can keep it in and when I can't, and this time it is definitely coming out. I make it to the sink with only a second to spare, and then I feel the awful burning sensation of stomach acid rushing up through my throat. I dry heave over the clean stainless steel, but nothing comes up. Not yet, anyway. But Adam is quickly beside me, holding my hair and rubbing my back, and I know he's just trying to be supportive, but it's not helping right now. I need space. Space to breathe, space to think. Space to decide if there really is a way out of this sorry mess that we find ourselves in. I brush Adam's hand away from me and I feel bad for doing so, but his touch is reminding me of how much I need him. The thought of losing him now, while he serves out several years of a prison sentence, is unbearable. But I have to try and remain objective. I have to try and see things through the eyes of a sane person, and not those of a heavily pregnant and hormonal wife who would do anything for the man she loves. When I'm confident that I'm no longer in danger of being sick, I lift my head out of the sink and get my breath back. The acrid taste is still burning at the back of my throat, but the worst of it has passed. The worst of the nausea, at least. The worst of Adam's situation is still right here, staring me in the face. Why don't you sit down? Adam suggests, somehow managing to look more worried about my predicament than his own right now. But I don't want to sit down. I need to go outside. I need fresh air. I unlock the back door and step out onto the wooden decking we had installed in our back garden just in time for last summer. While we haven't been able to get much use out of it since the weather turned a couple of weeks ago, We did enjoy many afternoons and evenings sitting out here entertaining family and friends with barbecues before it did. But now winter is setting in and the good times are over, in more ways than one.
I always imagined what our garden would be like.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?